What's good? What's good? It's War, Art of War Media, resonate eternally to shine externally. Sitting here with my head Jegna, the man that has inspired me and taught me a lot. My man, Chief Yuya. How you doing, man?
Beautiful.
Thanks for being in the space, brother, man.
Thank you, man.
So, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling well today.
Feeling well?
Yeah. Today's been productive.
Been productive, yep. See, productive. That's one of the things that we've learned. We're not busy, we're productive. Absolutely. Or progressive. Absolutely. So we're here today to talk about the color of music. I'm going to ask Chief some questions because Chief has done a wonderful lecture on enlightenment and transformation on YouTube. You can also find all that stuff online. I'll leave a link to it on the bottom of the video so you can go check it out. But we had a good conversation about color and how color relates to sound. And if you know anything about the spirit will project itself with color and sound. One of the first things I would like to ask is like, hey Chief, like explain to me like how color and sound relate together, like some of the ways the vibrations, the frequencies correlate together.
Sure. Well, if we wanted to look at it from I guess you could say a esoteric perspective first, all things that come into creation via sound, via word sound. If you look at certain creation stories, there's usually a proclamation of something, and then so it is. Mm-hmm. Let there be, let there be light. And light was created, and so forth and so on. Mm-hmm. So there's this idea associated with things that come into manifestation, things that come into creation first through a projection of sound waves, mm-hmm. And of course the things that manifest itself, we can see them. Mm-hmm. So depending on what you're projecting audibly, or verbally, it's going to determine what you're going to create, what patinas it will produce. So if I'm projecting a certain way, maybe I'll produce a purple sunset, or maybe I'll produce a brown hill or mountain, or a gray stone, based on what I'm projecting, just from a basic esoteric sense. So sound itself has a direct correlation, not with just color, but with physical manifestation itself. Mm-hmm. And the quality or the frequency or the rate that sound projects itself at determines the colors that we see. So even from a just understanding how colors work, colors are all based around a certain frequency spectrum. So just like sound moves in waves and moves in spectrums, so does light. Mm-hmm. And when you're dealing with colors, you're dealing with basically different encapsulations of light. All colors are being projected at the same time. Mm-hmm. All colors. And certain objects that are created have the ability to reflect certain colors, or the inability to reflect other colors. Mm-hmm. So you may see something that's red or something that's blue or something that's green because that's the color that it projects outward. But inherently inside of it is all colors, just like you and I. There's all colors. There's an interesting saying in Nigeria that my elder shared with me recently, because we were talking about in my family how there's so many different hues, there's so many different shades, and like certain parts of Nigeria I go in, I will be referred to as Oyimbo, mm-hmm. and Oyimbo is white man. Or sometimes I'm in Ghana, Obuni, white man, mm-hmm. right? But the idea, there's a saying in Ghana that the pot is black, but it produces many colors. So basically, like the meals that you cook, like you might have a black pot that you're cooking in, but you can make red rice or yellow rice or whatever. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So the black pot, the black, which absorbs all colors, can produce every color. Mm-hmm. So there's a direct correlation between the frequency that we resonate at, and where that frequency falls and the color that it chooses to be able mm-hmm. to produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as a student, a Sedula House student, we also learned that the soul has no color. The soul is.
Right.
Is. It's in the business of being. There's nothing that the soul requires other than soul. So with that, we have something that we, to add to our purpose, we add certain things as color or spirit inside of the soul. Correct. I believe I'm in the right space when I'm saying it. Right?
For the most part.
I always gotta check with the teacher, man. Gotta make sure you check in with the teacher, cause hey, but you know, as I'm describing this, like your spirits that you project from your soul, those are colors that we add into our life purpose or our character as we grow. Correct?
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit for us?
Sure. You know, but like even if we say like the soul has no color. Color is not relevant when we're speaking about the soul. You know, the soul, colors provide us an opportunity for contrast and distinction. You know, so and the contrast and the distinction is a separator, right? So if something is gray versus something that's black or something that's white, it allows us to see now a depth of field. You know, I can see this is here, that's there, or that this is one thing and this is another thing. Mm-hmm. But when you're expressing yourself, or when you're functioning or acknowledging the soul presence, within that soul presence, everything is one. So there would be no distinct, you know, markers to say, okay, well, this part of soul, and then there's that part of soul, and that's a green soul, that's a gray soul, that's an evil soul, that's a good soul.
You're right, all them titles.
Yeah, you know, there's no such thing. It's just soul. So we could say like it has no color, but more importantly, it has no form. You know, you couldn't visibly look and see that's a soul. You couldn't see it with your human eyes.
Right.
You can't even fathom it with your human mind, because in order to fathom it, you'd have to separate it from yourself in order to understand what it is. We are the separation from the soul. Mm-hmm. So I can look at you and I can see where your arm ends and where mine begins.
Right.
At least I believe that. And the only reason I believe that is because I can't see the color between us. Right? So there are molecules that are connecting my arm to your arm, but because I'm unable to process those colors, I can't see them. Mm-hmm. So I think we're separate, but we're not actually.
We're not.
Everything in this room is touching everything in this room.
Right. We're all vibrating
together. And bumping into each other and things like that.
Right.
So the soul expresses itself outward, and it has the ability or the gifts and the tools of spirit to say, okay, even though I'm expressing all colors outward, it's almost like a marathon, and different spirits will take the baton from the soul and say, I'll take the red baton, I'll take the yellow baton, I'll take the green baton, and then like a rainbow.
Yeah.
And and they shoot out from that. So kind of even like the idea like a rainbow and a pot of gold. You think like Lucky Charms cereal,
yeah.
You know. And he holds the pot of gold, and you know the rainbow shoots out of it. Well, the gold represents the alchemicalizing of the soul. Mm-hmm. And you notice that pot of gold is always in a black kettle.
Mm-hmm. The womb.
Right.
It's always in the womb.
It's always in the womb. That black kettle, then you have the gold inside of it, and then the rainbows shoot out of that refined substance, yeah. If you will. You know. So there's a projection of different colors, and there's you know, like we talk about, you know, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, 7 primary colors, and mm-hmm. a lot of times when we're speaking about different spiritual energies, we stick to those colors, but those are the ones that we perceive based on the vibration that they live on, because we also have infrared, right? So what R.I.S.E is infrared. We have microwaves. What R.I.S.E, like, so we could say, well, red is Ogun, mm-hmm. yellow is Oshun, you know, and because we tend to stick to very primary things because of sometimes our inability to see other colors or to see other vibrations, right? So we always kind of limit them. But again, like I said, well, who is infrared.
Yeah.
If Oshun can live in yellow, or Yemoja can live in blue, or Obatala can live in white, then something has to be living in infrared as well. You see?
Right. So that's a good point on like how the different characteristics of orishas would be represented by certain colors.
Sure.
Now, inside of those orishas, like let's say I'm walking in the way I see Obatala, okay? Meaning I'm trying to be father, I'm trying to be authority, I'm walking in white right now. I'm in that space. As my soul, as this is part of my life purpose, my soul is doing this life purpose, and I have to pull this energy of Obatala to show this color to maybe the community or the nation or my family in this environment. Like, I'm actually also not only just projecting the white color, but I'm also projecting the white sound wave, because the words that are coming out of my mouth, the vibration of my soul at this point in time, as me taking on the characteristics of Obatala and Obatala energy, I'm projecting this. So the correlation between like projecting yourself as this Obatala energy, and knowing that as you're projecting this, you're projecting yourself into a sound vibration also, and the connection between those two. The sound of that white vibration is at a certain frequency. They correlate with each other as we work through the spectrum. So when we're dealing with like Obatala at a white scale, and it's higher up in the spectrum, really just the sound waves are moving faster. So we're seeing the actual light waves moving faster, and along with the sound waves. Where are we placing our soul in that position? How does that play in our soul's realm with being in that white vibrational speed of sound?
We can look at the white vibration, and we can look at that for a second. It's like, okay, white reflects all colors, right? So that would be like the Orishanla aspect of Obatala, where Orishanla is the exalted Orisha. So he's actually expressing the energy of all the Orisha, right? But the reality is the Obatala energy is that of purity from earthly influence. So it's really the color that you can't see. It's the color, Obatala is creativity, because Obatala has not chosen a path. You see, that's why a lot of times people who fall under the Obatala energy, they're talented in many different ways, and their biggest struggle is picking what to do. You know, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. Because why? They're reflecting all of the colors. Well, which one do you want to pick? I don't want to pick any of them, really. I want to do all of them. You see, that's Obatala. That's the white aspect, right? But the truth is, with Obatala, I mean, and I'm not saying that the white designation is wrong, but if you really speak about how it's manifesting in terms of the soul energy, Obatala doesn't touch the earth. That's why you have stories about the problems that occur when he spills palm oil on his garments, and what that's representative of, him being soiled with the earth. You know, he's not like an Ogun that walks around smelling like blood and animal skins. He's in this experiences, or Oshun who's tasting honey and experiencing the ups and downs of love for her children and love for her lovers, and so forth and so on. Obatala is detached and aloof, you know. So what would be the color of his that we would see? We wouldn't see him.
Gotcha.
Because he's detached, you know. So the white is more of a representative. It's a representative of him pushing back out. It's more symbolic of that.
Let's go to the bottom, the lower end, what we see visually, like on the red scale. So like red Ogun, maybe Eshu, Shango. Because Shango actually shares both aspects. You know, you got the Obatala white and the Ogun red.
Right.
So how would that like one of the things I want to dive into is like how we use these colors
Sure.
amongst our personal, our actual day-to-day life, on how we present ourselves, our characters, what we project, the spirit that we shoot out. How would that correlate inside of this conversation?
It's a cultural correlation because me personally, I don't celebrate Valentine's Day, right? But during Valentine's Day, people use red. However, if we were to associate red with Ogun, we would say red is an energy of aggression and activity. We know red is activated Ashe. When Ashe activates, it gets warm and it turns red. What does that have to do with Valentine's Day? Now, we could speak to maybe there's a sexual aspect there and there's a friction, but typically the red and the pink, which is a derivative of red, speaks to affection.
Right.
But that's culturally based. You have some who will tell you Ogun's colors are green, right? They'll tell you that his old color was red, but his new color is green because when he came across the water, he became an energy of agriculture. So he represents green. Then others will say that, well, Ogun will help you to get money. That's why we associate him with green. Well, money's not green everywhere in the world, though.
Right.
So a lot of times the correlations are more cultural. You go to Nigeria, Oshun's colors are not yellow. They're blue, because she's associated with water. So, and Oya, a lot of times, Oshun is deep blue, and Oya is a lighter blue. Now, most times we would think we would say, well, okay, we are going to use blue. We'd probably make Oya the darker blue.
Right. So
a lot of times we're using colors based on how we culturally perceive them, which is fine, because ultimately, how you use the colors, it's supposed to activate something in your consciousness and alter something in your personal consciousness.
Right.
Even though we may burn a candle and say, I'm going to burn this pink candle or this yellow candle because I want this effect. It's the effect that you believe it's going to have. When I want to do work with fire, I'll use candles, but I'm quicker to just light a fire. Like you have a fire pit.
Right.
Light the fire pit.
Right.
Now you can visualize what you want to happen, but the key is you're using that element of fire. For others, they need to see a pink candle. They need to see a white candle. They need to see a black candle.
Right.
But it's personal. You got some, when you talk about lighting black candles, they're like, oh no, I don't do that. For me, black candles have always been absorptive. So again, we use colors in our work, and it's culturally referenced. There's no standards on this means that, orange means life, gray means stability. Like, I use gray candles. A lot of people don't even know to use gray, because for me, gray represents stones and masonry work.
Right.
So it represents stability.
Like even that steel color, I got you.
Right, or steel. Yeah. Now, that's something I came up with. Right. So it's a personal thing. It's called, the way you use your colors it's personal. Just like the way you dress is personal. Certain colors make you feel a certain way.
That makes a lot of sense, because a lot of the conversation really about your spirit, or your own spirituality, and owning yourself is like owning your own spirituality. You're actually stepping into things that that fits right inside of your soul or your spirit. Like if you know that a green candle, for me, when I think of the heart, in the heart space, I think green.
Right.
It's first thing that comes to mind. Green means health, prosperity. Green means those are the things that I think. Right. So if I light up a green candle, I'm scribe into that candle. I'm going to affirm into that candle the things of those characteristics. You know what I'm saying? So keeping that in a space where you understand that it's like, one of the things that I knew is we focus on Ori. Right. Ori is where
consciousness,
where everything is.
Right.
And everything outside of it is going to be the reflection of how well that has been developed.
That's right.
And all the parts that we can break down through the Ori. So, yeah, I just want to put that little statement out, man. Anything else you want to add to the?
Yeah, definitely. Sounds have their own vibration, and they have their own sounds.
Yeah.
Colors, have their own sounds that come off of them. And there's certain people who they see colors, you know, as sounds and vice versa. It's actually a condition. I have a similar thing. Kanye West apparently also has that condition, right? It's called a condition. I don't know why. I always saw it as like an advantage, but
yeah,
you know,
you talked about that one time.
Yeah, the show. Yeah. But you know, but again, it's a very personal thing. Sometimes we get wrapped up in our colors without realizing that they're a weapon to use, and there's so many of them. Yeah. You know, and certain ones are more auspicious for certain days. Right. You know, but even then, like, you know, we all have our own personal horoscopes or horoscopes. Yeah. You know, we all have our own personal ebb and flow, and during those times, certain things are going to work with you more than others. When you're talking about sounds in particular, excuse me, it's important to understand what sounds are healing for you. You know, like what notes are healing for you. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why I advocate that everyone should play some sort of instrument. You know, even if it's the easiest one you can play, it doesn't matter. Everyone should have the ability to play a note. And even if it's drums, because drums have notes. Right. And you can tune your drum to your note. Like, just like when drummers play, you know, if you are a person who really listens to drumming, you get used to a person's note. You know, because like for instance, you know, one of my elders is a drummer, right? And he always would talk about tuning his drum to C, right? Mm-hmm. So if I hear some drumming and I hear that note C, I know it's him. Mm. You know, right now. That's the note that maybe he feels the best at. That makes him feel like, okay, I'm fitting in to the orchestra the best or whatever. Right. You know, but everybody has their particular note. Just like if you're a piano player, you're a guitar player, you know, when you sit down on your keyboard or whatever, there's a certain key that you always just tend to go to. Right. You know, and sometimes you may try to force yourself out of it. Man, let me try to play in a different key. Yeah. But
yeah, you know, I go straight to C major all the time. C major.
There we go. There we go. Right. So there's something about C major, right? So that's an important aspect. If you think about your personality, you said something once on a segment. You had spoke about your personality. You said, you know, I'm a pretty happy person. I'm like you know, I try to bring good energy into a room, right? That's major energy. See? Yeah. Major. Think about the major scales. It's a brighter scale. Right. C major. Dum 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 dum. It's very bright. Right. Right. Whereas you think about a minor scale. Dum 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 dum. It's darker sounding. Right. So and I did a video on this a long time ago. I guess if I had a keyboard on a guitar, I could demonstrate it. Mm-hmm. But I think it was on Facebook I did the video, so it's probably going.
I know which one it is.
You know which one?
I'll link
okay.
it too.
Yeah.
Definitely I'll link it.
But
that's what actually those videos that he did is what inspired me to ask him these questions. Oh wow. Because there's even some paper a post. There's even a post that I put up with like the frequencies and the color scale, and I'll make sure I put it in this so you guys check it out too. Yeah,
that'd be cool. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah. But the major scales are masculine and the minor scales are feminine, right? Which is kind of interesting because most music, hip hop, R&B, whatever, is based around minor scale. Right. You know, because it's more cooler sounding, it's darker sounding, but that's the feminine energy. Right. It's darker, it's more depressed, it's more inward, it's more internal. Right. Whereas the major energy, which we hardly ever ascribe to masculine music, is actually the masculine sound. It's out, it's bright, it goes, you know. Right. And like one of the things I've noticed too, like even if you're playing C major and you do a minor inside of the play, you'll hear that detune. Mm-hmm. Whether it's going up or going down, you're going to hear the detune coming from the major to the minor, then going back to the major. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you'll hear it like right off the bat. You hear the mood change.
Yeah. But it also, like, I've also seen that in a lot of funk like they'll be playing C major all the way through, and then all of a sudden they're doing a change and boop, right into the minor, and then right back to the major.
Right.
So
you hear that in blues, what they call 4-bar boogie. You know, doom 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 doom. You know, there's a song by Sly and the Family Stone. I don't want to say. Well, don't call me N-word, Whitey. Don't call me Whitey N-word. That's the name of the song. But James Brown's Sex Machine is in the major scale. So you can actually get like funky and soulful if you use it properly.
Right.
You know, because is a man always happy and bright? No. You know.
Yeah, I get it. I get that though. That's and it's interesting too. Come and think about it, because when I do make a lot of beats in the minors, and I can tell you off bat, like I can listen to some of the beats that I did in minors and tell you that I was in this space. I was in a negative space.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just getting to a place where I needed to get away from something. And then you could tell, like, whenever I make the major beats or the happier beats, it's like I'm literally just all in there, you know?
You're more in your element.
Yeah.
That's an important aspect. I mean, from colors to the music, you know, there's a part of me, you know, I'm not a big fan or advocate of like the skinny jean look or anything like that, but one of the things I appreciate is that when that look came around, or maybe shortly after it, one of the things that also came as a result was young people started wearing colors again, because all through the 90s, mid 90s to, because early 90s it was all about bright colors, cross colors, and bright rayon shirts and stuff like that. And then it was just
Carl
white.
Kanai fits.
Right, Carl Kanai, purple Carl Kanai shirts and stuff. Colors were really being explored.
Yeah.
And then there was a period where it was just about really big jeans and white tees. Color was gone, and it was not cool to wear color anymore unless maybe it was in your baseball cap.
Yeah.
And then when the skinny jean movement kind of came in, colors came back in. Where young people were even wearing some retro stuff and stuff. And you started to see a difference even in the personalities, the energies of the people. But you also saw a difference in the music. Yeah. Like the song that Cardi B did with Bruno Mars. I don't remember the name of it, but the one where they did like the throwback to like In Living Color. It was like a new track.
Right. I know which one it is. I just can't get the title right now.
But you think about the correlation there between In Living Color and a bright New Jack City song. Right. Because one of the things about New Jack Swing is that it was very major, it was very masculine music because it was happy. You listen to the drums were like booms, got booms, got. Like real up and happy. Yeah. You know what I mean? And after that, drums became very simple. Boom, boom, bats, boom, boom, bats. And dark.
Or even slower, like boom, bap, a 4/4.
Yeah.
Boom, bap.
And that's it. Yeah. You know, so it went from masculine to feminine, right? There was a changing of the guard, if you will. Yeah. But you notice with the video that they did, they had to infuse all of that color. Because all that color went along with the diversity and the brightness of the music. Right. The brightness of the sound is going to also speak to the brightness of the color. Gothic music is very dark and minor sounding, and the Gothic look is black and grays. Right. You know, so there's always a direct correlation to that place that those frequencies bring you to, and the colors that associate.
That's really interesting that you say that too, because even like dealing with like some of the common music now, like some of the trap sounds and some of that stuff is very slow beat. I'm talking about the BPMs are like 69 BPMs. Yeah. They say they double time at 130 or something like that, but they're really
it still comes down to 70.
That slow rhythm and even on the sounds, the transient sounds that they got going on, it's just really like real, once again, minorish, and just really in a place where it's giving out those gray, those dark blacks, those grays, those deep, I would say subconscious colors, because those, like anything dealing with dark blue, anything in the dark stage of a dark red, that would be saying like certain for me would be something that's going deeper inside of my consciousness. You know, so if it's brighter, that means it's more visibly seen. So I could like some of these the red soundproofing that's in here.
Sure.
They're really bright. The yellow ones are really bright. So they catch me. But if I look at the brown ones and the black ones are just kind of hidden inside of it.
Sure.
So, you know, it's just interesting that right now, most of the music that we're listening to, or the most of the music that's being played right now, is that it's really on this real slow vibration, but they're actually using that slow vibration with vocals that are sped up on top of it. So it's just as where we are now musically is that we deal with a lot of transient minor scale music now than how it used to be, where like take BBD. They still play that at the end of the club to make you happy. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you hear Poison come on and it's like it's time to go, but we're leaving happy. You know what I'm saying? So
well, you know, a lot of it was also from Poison, which was that was like a transitional song. You know, like one of the first hip hop R&B songs ever. You know, that was a big thing. Produced by Prince Marky D with the Fat Boys did that song. Did a lot of that project for them. But you're also coming off. That came out around 90, 91, somewhere around there. So you're coming off the cocaine era. You know, so you had like in the 80s, you had a lot of like fast-paced techno, Wide the Ride Horse and stuff like that. It was because of the cocaine. Yeah. So the music got faster. Yeah. Well, now we're existing inside of a strong pill culture. So like you said, a lot of slow BPMs, even a lot of slurred speech lyrically, you know, because the pills are not necessarily making, you know, the takers and the recipients, they're not necessarily stimulants, they're depressants. Right. So you hear that depressant nature, the chemical inside of the music. You know, and that's one of the things I as an artist, as a musician, I try to tend to stay away from being depressed all the time with your music or being depressed, because especially if you're going through hard times, one of the first things you do when you pick up an instrument, you release stress. You know, as you start to play, and sometimes those things, those troubles that you're going through, you will manifest into a song that will sound good, but it will still be in a minor scale. So trying to keep people or give music that's going to be beneficial for people, you know what I'm saying, is one of the probably responsibilities I would do when I put out music. You know, so at the end of the day, that's really what I want to see people do, is better themselves, become greater, better character, and so forth, so on. So I'm sitting here with Chief Yuya. I really appreciate you coming in and giving us the wisdom and knowledge. I appreciate the answers and the guidance. Like I would tell you, go see ZuduloHouse.com. You know, we got classes up there. They're awesome. I'm going through them, and I'm seeing a lot of change in my life with those. You can check out Enlightenment and Transformation. He has what is my body of work. One of the things that I like to see is a person with a body of work, and this man has a body of work, and it's not just on one channel, it's not just on 2 channels, it's not just on 3 channels, it's damn near almost on 50 channels all across the internet. Search him, Chief Yuya, and I'll have all the links to you guys below on the video. So, peace, resonate eternally, shine externally. Thank you for listening. All right, peace.